Hello, welcome to our 10th class. Today we are going to study how to look for an apartment or a house to rent, okay? So I named this class Apartment Hunting, and we are going to see some advertisements and how people can evaluate apartments and houses, okay? So follow me, please. Paul is looking for an apartment to rent. He is reading the ads. The ads, I don't know if you know, but ads mean advertisements, okay? Advertisements is that section of a newspaper, for example, where we can find people offering things to sell or for rent, okay? So there you have usually 2 or 3 lines, very small texts, 2 or 3 lines maximum, where people advertise, right? Where people announce what they want to sell or rent. Look here, we have 2 examples today. So, modern apartment downtown. Modern apartment downtown. Very convenient. 1 bedroom, 2 bathrooms, modern kitchen. 750 reais per month, okay? So this is an apartment for rent, right? Here we have a picture of the apartment and we have some information about this apartment, right? We know it's very convenient because it's downtown. We know it's modern. It has 1 bedroom, 2 bathrooms, okay? And a modern kitchen. And we also know how much is the rent, right? 750 reais per month. So apartment number 2. It is a special apartment located in a quiet suburb. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, swimming pool. Excellent for families. 1,400 reais a month. Okay, so now this is not so convenient, right? It's a bigger apartment, but the location is a bit far from downtown, right? It's in a quiet suburb. Okay, so it's probably going to be quieter, but also not as convenient as the first apartment, okay? So, remember last class we learned how to evaluate an apartment or a house using adjectives. Remember? Let's review very briefly. Okay, so adjective plus enough. Example, my apartment isn't special enough. Or his house isn't quiet enough. Now, today we are going to learn how to do the same thing, evaluate apartment, houses, or anything else, but now using nouns. Let's see the difference. So, with adjectives, we used adjective plus enough. And now we are going to do the opposite. It's going to be enough plus a noun. So the noun comes after enough. Example, an apartment doesn't have enough space. An apartment doesn't have enough space. So you see, my apartment isn't special enough, adjective and before enough, and here an apartment doesn't have enough space. So it's enough and after we use a noun. Okay, space is a noun. Another example, houses don't have enough privacy. Houses don't have enough privacy. Okay, so again, first enough and then the noun privacy. Okay, so it's very simple. Another thing that we learned last class was how to evaluate using to plus adjective, right? Let's review. My apartment is too cramped. Okay, my apartment is too cramped. Remember, cramped, very small or with a lot of furniture, difficult to move. You don't have much room left, right? Or his house is too noisy. His house is too noisy. So, very simple, we use to plus adjective to evaluate. Now, when we use a noun, first thing we have to do is to pay attention if the noun is countable or non-countable, okay? Example, with non-count noun, we use too much, right? Too much plus non-count noun. Example, there's too much noise downtown. there's too much noise downtown. So noise is a noun, different from noisy. Noisy is an adjective, remember? And noise is a noun. So I cannot say too noise. I have to say too much noise, okay? Now, when we have a count noun, we are going to use too many, okay? Example, a house has too many rooms. A house has too many rooms, okay? So, again, first thing we have to do when we have a noun is to see if the noun is a count noun or a non-count noun, okay? If it's countable, too many. If it's uncountable, too much, okay? Now, let's see here some examples of evaluations, okay? The first apartment here was very convenient, right? 1 bedroom, 2 bathrooms, and a modern kitchen. So let's see now, Paul is going to evaluate this apartment. What does he say about the number of bedrooms? He says, this apartment doesn't have enough bedrooms. This apartment doesn't have enough bedrooms. Okay, so it has only 1 bedroom. Okay, there's only 1 bedroom. So it doesn't have enough bedrooms. Now, how about the second apartment? Now, Paul is going to evaluate the second apartment according to the rent. Look, it costs 1,400 reais a month or per month. So, what does Paul think of that? This apartment costs too much money. Okay, this apartment costs too much money. Okay, so money is a noun and it's a non-count noun, and that's why he used too much. Okay? Now, let's practice a little. So here we have a sentence, that apartment isn't private enough. I want to say the same thing, but now I want to use privacy. So private is an adjective, okay? So isn't private enough. Now privacy is not an adjective, it is a noun, okay? So how to use that? I have to do the opposite way, right? With adjectives, we say adjective, like here private, and after we use enough. With nouns we are going to reverse, right? So it's first enough and then the noun, remember? So that apartment doesn't have enough privacy. That apartment isn't private enough. That apartment doesn't have enough privacy, okay? So it's very simple, we just have to get used to the way, to the good collocation, right? To the correct word order in English, right? Now, this apartment is too cramped. This apartment is too cramped. So now I want to use furniture. So if we are going to use furniture with too, furniture is a noun. We have to think first, is furniture countable or uncountable? And furniture is uncountable. I cannot count furniture. I can count sofas, I can count beds, I can count televisions, but I cannot count furniture in general, okay? So I have to say too much. So this apartment has too much furniture. This apartment has too much furniture, okay? It's too cramped, it has too much furniture. Now, there's only 1 parking space. There's only 1 parking space. And I want to use enough. Enough with parking space. Parking space is a noun, right? So there aren't enough parking spaces. There aren't enough parking spaces, okay? Because parking here is the adjective that is modifying the noun space. So there aren't enough parking spaces. First enough and then the noun. So this apartment is too bright. So there's too much light in this apartment. It's too bright. So what can we say about the windows? It has too many windows. So this apartment has too many windows. So this apartment, so windows is a count noun, right? It's countable. so I'm going to use too many and not too much. Okay? So that was it for today. Next class, we are going to continue studying this apartment hunting. I changed the name just not to be the same one, apartment hunting 1 and apartment hunting 2. I say next class is going to be named house hunting, okay? But next class, I want to show you how we can compare using nouns. Remember, last class, we learned how to compare using adjectives. Remember, as specials as, it's not as safe as the other, okay? But now we're going to see how to use as to compare, but now using nouns and not adjectives, okay? So it's a very important class. Hope you guys don't miss it. Thanks for watching. See you next class.